Folks, for everyone, I brought in this little handy little bookmark. This thing is lifesaver. And once we, oh, perfect, that's beautiful. Okay. If you want, oh, perfect. Okay, this is even better. All right, there we go. So thank you, Shaban. Thank you to the NYIT folks, and pleased to be a speaker here today. I wanted to really just give you guys a heads up on this before I kind of go into the conversation. I am a very heavy networker, but I also speak at various colleges, and I talk to a lot of college students. And one of the pressure points that I always ask them is, tell me about networking. What are the problems that you have and things like that. So I've collected all this data, and basically these 4 points is what I've come down to as what makes sense for a lot of college students. But then I started looking into this, and I said, you know what, let me just go and talk to a lot of other people about it. And these 4 points, if you go literally in order from top to bottom, and that's what I'm going to talk about today, these 4 points will literally get you in front of people you need to meet, get you that job opportunity, and so forth. So please take this with you. Leave it in a car, leave it in a book, whatever you need to do whatever you need. But this is a very important piece. And for the people that want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I am a huge LinkedIn guy. 95 plus 100 connections. I post 3 times a day. And I also comment like crazy as well. I say I spend about 4 hours a day on LinkedIn. But I also find clients like that. So, alrighty. Well, so my topic's today on networking, right? So the real question is, what is networking? Networking is pretty simple. It's a connection between humans. It's a connection between 2 people and a group of people, whatever it is. Now, the real question is within networking, what is the purpose? What's the intent of networking? And that's what most people have a challenge with. So they can go and meet a lot of people, but if there was no purpose behind the meeting of that networking, then what was the purpose overall? And so when you are going out, and this is for college students as well as anyone really, is when you're going out, you have to have a certain level of strategy behind your network. And the first point I want to make right here is have your 30-second pitch ready. And what I mean by 30-second pitch, it's pretty straightforward. Hi, my name is Sid. I'm a commercial banker, but I'm also a networking extraordinaire, and I founded Switch Events, a networking organization. These are the type of clients I'm looking for. How can I help you? That's my 30-second pitch. It doesn't need to be 30 seconds, but somewhere that makes sense on the timing of whatever is between the conversation. And a lot of people, they don't even come into a conversation with this 30-second pitch. And they come in and say, hi, nice to meet you. And then it just dies right there. Do you guys find that? May I just raise your hand? Do you guys have your 30-second pitch ready? Anyone? Okay, so yes. So this point makes a lot of sense to have this ready. I always have my 30-second pitch ready, and I encourage any person to have it ready. Okay? The second one really is approaching people at a networking event that are standing alone. You have no idea how many great individuals I've met. I've actually, and the interesting story is, not this current job, but my prior job, I actually got the job because I met an executive person at a networking conference who was just standing alone. She was just standing, doing her thing, and I came by and I said, hey, nice to meet you, my name is Sid. And we just started conversating, and from that point, I ended up with a job with her. And it was life-changing to start realizing that just approaching people that are standing alone in a networking environment or in just this type of a setting can be life-changing. And that person might be your next employer. That person might be that co-founder of the company that you're looking to design. A lot of people don't think of all these things. But that's why I encourage people when they're standing by themselves, go and approach that individual. And that's something that I also educate people on in my Switch events. So I run a networking event beyond banking, my current full-time job. I also run a networking event in New Jersey, and I do morning events, afternoon, and evening events. And being tonight is one of the evening events that I'm hosting. And within just the little subtleness of me watching somebody communicating, I'm watching their hand movement. I'm watching the way they're their body action is, things like that. All these little small things matter in networking. And then I'll come into a conversation and I'll say, hey, what are your thoughts on the economy for 2020? And it will just spark more conversation. So that's another point of networking. When you're out there and you're talking with people, right? Brings me to the next topic. Have a couple of points ready. You want to go into an event. I'm very big, I have a lot, my background has a piece of it where I came out of a family food business. And so I have a lot of food-related clients, and food, and not just restaurants, manufacturers, import-export companies. And so when I go to these food conferences, I want to talk about FDA laws. I want to talk about E. coli if it's hot. I want to talk about all these things. I have these topics ready. And when I have these conversation points ready, may it be through a general event or may it be through industry-specific event, one, I look like an educated person that knows what I'm doing. And two, it gives the person the opportunity to say, you know what, I'd like to take it to the next level. I want to learn more about you, and vice versa. Maybe there's a way we can do business. And I was just intrigued by a conversation. I had a one-on-one networking conversation yesterday with an individual who, he's in the insurance world, and we were just having a conversation about food. And he says, you know what, I have a lot of food clients, but within the food clients, I do a lot within import-export in the seafood, the shrimp industry. And it was eye-catching to me. Now I know that guy as the shrimp guy. Doesn't matter if there's anything in the world. If there's a shrimp conversation, that guy's going to be part of it. And so little trigger points, little words, little things, comments matter in a networking discussion. And people don't generally think of all these things, but it does matter. So have your general points ready and be able to communicate them at any event that you're at. Right? And within that, though, the last, and actually this is the one that I really want to spend the most time on, is follow-up. This is the one that most people forget about. So you can go and it's exciting, you're having a great time, you're communicating, you're doing whatever it is. And I see this in my own events that I run. That I create, so Switch events, the model is pretty straightforward. You come to the event, I create a human interaction, I create a LinkedIn conversation, and three, I give you all the data, email address, phone numbers, everything, of the people that attended the event. So you're walking out of there, there should be no reason that Sid couldn't provide you the best experience of a networking event. And so, but the real problem is most people don't want to follow up. Most people think that, hey, I'll get to it. And the get to it is the reason that that $20 million angel investor never came through. Or that, hey, that job opportunity was left on the table. It's the follow-up. And I just noted a couple of items on here. Of course, there's LinkedIn, is by phone call, by email. But folks, I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. You can catch me anywhere. So for anyone to say that you can't get a hold of me, that's a bit of a problem. And so follow-up is key. And the other thing is when I speak with a lot of young adults, young professionals, they fear that what if I follow up and I don't get a reply back? Well, I've been doing this for over 10 years and I don't get reply backs either at times. And you move on. Or you reach back out in 2 weeks and say, hey, I'm following up from the email or from that LinkedIn message. And then go from there. And there are times where people are on vacation. They forget. They do whatever life happens. But you can't get discouraged, because the worst thing in networking is when you get discouraged, you say this isn't working, and then you just move on. And again, all those lost opportunities never happened lost opportunities come about, and things never happen because you weren't encouraged to keep doing this. And so, when you're doing the follow-up, just my recommendation for any of you folks over here, right? Most people don't leave a phone call anymore. And shockingly, my best follow-up are phone calls. And then the second best follow-up are LinkedIn messages. And then the third, I go to emails. I check my LinkedIn quicker than I check email. I check emails maybe 2 to 3 times a day. I check my LinkedIn all the time because that message shows up right on my phone. Or on, some people wear Apple Watch or Samsung Watch or whatever. That shows up right there. So if you really want to get front and center with somebody on the follow-up of networking, shoot them a LinkedIn message. Reach out to them on a phone call, right? Something else, if you're going and looking for a job opportunity and you met that executive at a networking event, write them a letter. No one writes letters anymore. And I found a couple of jobs back, some time back actually, that letters actually got to the executive's doorstep. Because people still, crazy enough, enjoy opening the mail. And so that's the overall feel of networking. And really, the real question is then, from this point, I give you this data. But what is it that you're going to make of the data? And then from that point, how are you going to go and utilize it? So to maximize this time here and really to put these in perspectives, take it from the top all the way to the bottom here. And if you follow these step by step, I will tell you, you will be pretty much guaranteed to set up the second meeting. All right, thank you, folks.
Definitely follow up with him afterwards for